Hey guys, my name is Clifford Adams, and once again, welcome to the World According to the Great One. This is my fifth episode, and so far, those who have joined me and who have watched me, thank you for that. And make sure you tell your friends, and make sure you let them know, hey, we have a different voice out there. Let's see what he thinks, and let's see what he brings to the table. Now, this week's episode is going to be talking about the many shades of black, the question about blackness in the Afro-American community. Just start with the question: what does it mean to be black enough? It's a question that I've had to answer quite a bit in life, just because of, I've grown up on both sides of the fence. I've lived in the projects, I've lived in the suburbs. Now, being is that my parents, whether it be my mom, dad, stepmom, and stepdad, they all have different views on this topic. Now, my mom has a different view than my dad, of course. My dad has a different view than my stepmom, and stepmom has a different view than my stepdad does. But I think if I were to ask them this same question, I think all of them would probably have a generalization of one thing. They are human, that they contribute to society, and that people should not be judged by a stereotype. I think they would all agree on that. So let's address the stereotypes first, because this what actually plays into who's black enough. Some people define being black enough as being born in a hood, being raised around only black people, only going to a black school, only having black friends, only dressing up a certain type of way, a la, if it's not name brand everything, then wearing like your overly big t-shirts, your hat turned whatever way, a bandana any type of way, your pants hanging half off your ass, showing your boxers, or if you're nowadays wearing the skinny jeans with your belt on, but your pants sagging. Or you have to talk a certain way in order to consider being black, because you have to use a certain amount of ebonics. Or, only supporting black people when something goes wrong. See, that plays into a stereotype. Or only listening to black music, so to speak. Or only eating black food. Or only... It's a slippery slope. Some people define black as being that. Some others also define being black as, only supporting black business, or only supporting black people in power. And while all those things may be fine and dandy, those things should not define your blackness. Now, let me give you my own personal experiences. How people try to define my version of black. Well, they don't call me black at all. They call me white. And let me address that. For any idiot who has ever called me that, whether you be black or white, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. Because I would think by now you would know better that if I were playing into a stereotype, you would still talk shit about me. If I walked around with my hat leaning, with a 5XL t-shirt when I'm only an XL, with my pants hanging off my ass, with $300 tennis shoes, with a $500 watch, a $1,500 necklace, with no pot to piss in, but my car looks better than my house, my clothes looks better than my girls. See, there would be a totally different conversation right there, because that's how some people indeed do define black. But because I have an articulate speech, that I have an extended vocabulary, that I have a college degree, that I speak proper English, that I wear predominantly suits, ties, vests, blazers, slacks, dress shoes. See, that's not, or that I actually cared about my education, or that I actually care about what does indeed happen to my community, or that I actually think, pun intended, about what happens around me. That doesn't make me black. Okay? And I see this happen a lot, and I've seen it happen more and more with athletes and in people in public view, because they call people like me and Uncle Tom because they believe I'm a sellout. Meaning that I don't give a damn about my own race. I care more about the white race or any other race before my own. Now, I'm going to say this, and there's a few of you who watch this who are probably going to laugh. Guess what? I dislike everyone equally. I am an equal opportunity asshole. Okay? So, with that being said, I will say 100% that I love my people. I love being Afro-American. I wouldn't have it any other way. Struggles and hardships aside that come with it, I welcome them every day. And I think that's what makes me better than a lot. But we should not question people's blackness by how they talk, how they look, how they dress, how they feel, and how they come off. If you want to go further, religion or even shade of black. Now, let's address that part. There are some people who aren't considered black enough just because of the shade of their skin. There have been news out there that, people like Russell Wilson isn't considered black enough because he's not dark enough, or because he has a degree, or because he's very articulate, he's very smart. He doesn't come off as being black enough. But yet, if you look on the other side of the spectrum, we're calling somebody like Richard Sherman a thug because he talks trash. And let us mind you, he does have a master's in psychology from one of the best schools on the planet in Stanford. Now let us all remind you that he comes from Compton, California. That raises a few eyebrows, doesn't it? Let us also look at it at another angle. Let's talk about Robert Griffin III, who's been called a cornball brother by a former ESPN analyst. He was called that because he's a black Republican, because he has a white wife, because he more associates with white people than his own. He's not considered black enough. Just on that alone. BS. And I've seen it happen quite a bit in politics as well. Like, we can take our own current president, Mr. Barack Obama, who's not even considered by many of the people who voted for him black enough because he's of mixed ethnic, because he's mulatto. Here's the interesting thing, black people. By a white person's standards, if they have 1% of black in them, they are considered black. So if that is the standard by a Caucasian, why is that also not the standard for blacks? Because we like putting everything in a box. That's why. Everybody likes labels on everything. And if you're not 100% this, then you're that. Now, I have 2 mixed siblings. They're my youngest 2. And to me, they don't choose because they know exactly who they are. And their blackness will never be questioned. When it comes to being black in America, your blackness should never be questioned because of what car, because of your political party, because of any of those things. Because in the end of the day, All you need to do is look in the mirror, and your skin says everything. Black people, we need to stop this tearing down our own because somebody's not black enough by your standards. Because in the end, it is those same people who you deem not black enough that is cleaning up the mess that the lot of you idiots are doing out there on these streets right now, killing each other at world record pace. It is these same people that are trying to clean up the image that is left by you idiots that sit and watch nothing but Love and Hip Hop and Real Housewives and other BS garbage on television instead of educating yourselves by picking up a damn book. It is these same people who are becoming the first president of the United States. It is these same people that can turn crack cocaine into $1 million and become a president of the biggest rap label in the world. It is that same blackness that can make another rapper become the most inspirational fashion expert on the planet. It can be that same blackness that makes one of the most hated athletes on planet Earth become the most beloved because he decides to go home again. And the power that he has, all because he lifts a basketball. It is that same blackness, and it is that same image, and it is that same persona that while all of our brothers and sisters that are dying at a world record pace in the streets of Chicago and Omaha and Detroit, it is out of those same grounds that greatness is finally starting to reappear. And let me not leave my sisters out of this as well, because I think it's even more damning with our sisters than it is our brothers, because I think with our black women, I think it's really demeaning because of the fact a lot of black women only succeed by themselves. But you will never see a bunch of black women, for the most part, sit down in the same room. Why? Because they've all had to tear each other apart in order to get there. Sisters, I think when it comes right down to it, you need to realize that no matter where you come from, you indeed are all beautiful. And that you are more than twerking in front of a camera or acting like an ass and embarrassing yourselves on worldwide television. You are more than that. And it's starting to show. Black women, you have more power than you ever can know. Because like black men, you influence every other race on what to do and what not to. You are the trendsetters. You are the trailblazers. You are the fearless ones. And in the end, you are indeed the end all and be all when it comes to how both black men and women are raised. And like black men, the excuses are over. I heard Raven Simone the other day. I heard about stripping herself of her labels. I originally disagreed with what she said because you cannot ignore who you are. But at the same time, I can applaud her for making that because labels only put us in a certain box. They only limit us. In closing on this topic about blackness, blackness is not in a box. Blackness is not even a certain shape, but it doesn't matter what shades we all come in. Whether you be yellow or red, whether you be mocha, whether you be albino, and whether you be even dark chocolate, whether you even be charcoal, you all represent the same thing. And it doesn't matter whether you come from the hood of the birds, you represent the same thing. And I think you need to realize that you were born as kings. We need to go back to learning what our heritage really means and what it really is. And I think in doing so, you will completely change your perception on how you define black. I want to thank you guys for tuning into today's show. Next week, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Next week's episode, we're going to be talking about the power of the vote and why it is important for all of you to vote. Now, this episode is called The Many Shades of Black. I am Clifford Adams Jr. And everywhere within the sound of my voice, I want to thank you guys for watching. You guys have a great evening, and if you're watching this, great evening, good night, and also good morning. One love.